again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And recently, the jury reached a verdict in the Shiloh Hendrix trial, which is a sham, being held in Minnesota, which is a sham state governed by a very incredibly weak male. He's not a man. I won't refer to him as a man or a guy. He's not even a boy. I know boys who are much more masculine than that freak. But it is Minnesota. It's a troubled place. It's a sick place. And this case was being tried for an event that happened in a park. Roughly, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where Shiloh Hendrix, the woman that you see here with her baby allegedly was being either bullied or bothered by a unattended black child. The shock. I'm shocked. And Shiloh went a little crazy. Now listen, we can tell by the heavily tattooed arm and the bleached blonde hair that our girl Shiloh is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. She probably did not, get her PhD, and she probably didn't go to, MIT or Cooper Union or one of these schools. But she defended her child as any parent should, as any white person should, as any person should, from the alleged bullying by this other kid at the park. Shiloh, being a woman, became very emotional, very high-charged, and she screamed obscenities, allegedly screamed obscenities at this child. What she was on trial for was not only screaming obscenities at the child, but also screaming obscenities at the provocateur who's video recording this event. Now, we will get to the Shamak Amar, this Somali illegal, in a bit. But we're going to show you the video, and I hope YouTube doesn't come after me for the language here, right? Because I've seen language on YouTube, and frankly, this should be let go. This is newsworthy. Here is the incident of Shiloh being confronted by Omar, I should say a Somali, not of this country. And I have to say, I've never toured Minnesota. I'm not interested in it. It's too cold. But I have flown into Minneapolis Airport. And when I was there, again, I'm talking about the airport, not the surrounding areas, everybody seemed lovely. This, of course, is 30 years. This, of course, is pre-Obama. And Barack Hussein Obama, the worst, most incompetent president of my lifetime. Joe Biden doesn't count because he was mentally ill. Dropped off like bombs, Somalis into that beautiful, if not liberal state. And now they reap what they sow. Because now they have to deal with this. This is what they must deal with. Third world people, mostly Islamic people, inbred, refuse to assimilate, refuse to be educated in the Western world. They want to bring their crap hole beliefs and country traditions to this country. And of course, it just doesn't mix. You can't bring in a caveman civilization into a modern Western civilization. It doesn't work. We've tried it. We gave it the good old try. Can we just say it's over? The experiment is over. And we just send all these people back and make America what it was meant to be, a white Christian expansion of Western civilization and Western Europe? Can we just, or just Europe in general, can we just do that? Is it so hard They don't belong here. They don't want to be here. They can't function here. If you take away the welfare state, if you take away all of public assistance right now, these people are gone tomorrow because they're only here for the free housing, EBT card, free healthcare, free medical, free. Once free is gone and they're starving in the street, they are going back or they're going somewhere else, maybe Canada, let them have them. But they shouldn't be here because they can't function here. This is not their home. This is not where they belong. They're a fish out of water. Excuse me. Here's the incident of Shiloh. And listen, she's a cute girl, but she needs leadership. Right? I can't see, but it doesn't look like there's a ring on that finger. And dollars to donuts, Shiloh isn't married. Shiloh had this baby out of wedlock. Shiloh's a single mom. Dollars to donuts. But should she be attacked for this by her own state, by her own government, and the country that she was born and raised in, for throwing an insult to a non-American, somebody who was not born and raised here, someone who has allegedly committed a crime much more serious than this? This isn't even a crime. You can argue that this is a violation of her free speech. This is a slippery slope here. Because if she's found guilty of disorderly conduct, this, as our lawyer friends would say, this is precedent. So if somebody, a white person, calls a black person a ninja in Chicago, then that black person can sue or file a report, and the police will arrest that person, and they'll get 200 hours of disorderly conduct and pay $1,000 fine. And then if it happens in Michigan or in New York or in New Jersey or in Massachusetts or Pennsylvania, you get where I'm going, and you know why I'm mentioning these states, because these are all libtard states where this will happen again and again and again. This is a slippery slope. And mind you, white people really don't have a negative term against them. I mean, you can call it Italian a Dago or Guinea. We don't really care. Asians, you can call them, dinks or whatever they used to call them. They really don't. They're not going to go to the police and file a report for that. This is a thing that black people do. This is a thing that Jews do. They manipulate the legal system to their advantage. Now, the problem is that you have judges who will sit there in their stupid robes and say, yeah, this is disorderly conduct. This is wrong. This is terrible. Not to say, hey, it's bad taste. The woman's ignorant. What are you going to do? We can't make everyone tolerant. It's just not going to happen. No, what they do is they hit you in the pocket and they set precedent. And this is a thing, not this case, but there will be something down the road that will be much more serious and severe. And it will be fought all the way. And I'm telling you, it'll be fought all the way to the Supreme Court. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. But it will happen where the Supreme Court will have to hear a case similar to this. And this case will be used as precedent from the party that is claiming racism or disorderly conduct or whatever else it is, or hate speech. Years and years ago, when this whole hate speech thing and hate crime stuff got passed by Congress, it was a sign of disaster, because that hate speech and hate crime doesn't apply to everyone, if you know what I mean. It applies roughly to, it applied to two groups at the time, now it applies to three, the homosexuals. That if you say anything that they deem as hate speech or what they deem is hateful, they can have you arrested. And it's a federal crime. So now you're fighting the feds, which is expensive. This girl over here, you know she doesn't have the money for a lawyer. She's in hock. And what white people should do, except me, is create a GoFundMe, just like the blacks did with George Floyd and Nolan Wells and all these other I didn't do nothing guys, and raise a bunch of money for her. If you really want to show that you have the fatigue, then this is one way of doing it. Here's Shiloh in her 15 minutes or 49 seconds of infamy.
Did you call him a nigger, the child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the nigger word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my own business. You call him a nigger? Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Fuck you, nigger.
Okay.
Nigger.
All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a nigger? The little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, a nigger, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
There you go. Yeah, you know what? That's hate speech. That boy that they just showed, the black kid, is probably 6, 7, 8 years old. This is a toddler. So yeah, you know what? If I see a kid that size picking on my little toddler, you know what? I'm going ape shit. I don't care if he's a kid. I don't care if he's alone. I don't care what he is. You're not touching my kid. You're not stealing his stuff. Fuck that. But then you have vermin like this who in their own country didn't have electricity or running water, who now come to America and they get an Obama phone with a camera and they can record and become their own citizen police or citizen advocate. And people in this country take it seriously. That's the problem. If we in this country said, you know what, bro, you're not one of us. You're here mooching off of us. You're a leech. You're a locust. We're not going to listen to you. She didn't admit that she called that boy whatever he said. She called him that word, which, you know what? He's an adult. He should be able to take it. Where's the misconduct in that? He provoked her. He's following her. Only thing he cares about is whether she used that word. He doesn't care if that little child was hit or assaulted in any way. They don't care about white people. And apparently the legal system in Minnesota don't care about white people. Because a mother defending her child and using ninja, you know what I mean? Very bad. But the black kid stealing from a toddler, come on. What's the big deal?
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you. You call him a nigger?
See there? He knew, because they know America already. They know America already. Now, as we said, she was in court. The verdict came down. Count 1, disorderly conduct regarding the child, not guilty. There was no evidence that she did anything wrong to the kid. Count 2, disorderly conduct regarding the videographer or Somali. She was found guilty. The jury acquitted Hendrix on charges involving the child, but found her guilty on separate disorderly conduct charges involving the videographer. Now, who is the videographer? This vermin, Sharmaik Omar, is a Somali man who filmed Shiloh Hendrix on the playground in Minnesota in April of 2025. Wow, it seems so much longer ago than that. Our boy Omar, who I'm going to try to find a picture of him. Let's see if we can find a picture of him. Because this is a beaut. This is a beaut right here. There he is. Our buddy Omar, a Somali man who filmed Shiloh Hendrix on the playground. In January of 2022, he and another Somali allegedly, in quotes, allegedly, spent 2 days raping an underage foster care runaway in a trailer, keeping her falsely imprisoned. In March of 25, so a month before this took place, all charges were dismissed and, quote, in the interest of justice. And then, of course, weeks later, he turned his camera phone on at a playground after a young Somali thief attempted to steal from Shiloh Hendrix and her child and began arguing with the woman for having said the word ninja. Omar demanded, as we heard on camera, that Hendrix repeat the word over and over and over again. Omar himself said the word 5 times in less than 1 minute, in the less than 1 minute video. 4 months later, multiple disorderly conduct charges were maliciously brought on Hendrix for the playground incident, in which she was the only victim. She was the one who was harassed by this alleged rapist. And now she's been convicted of disorderly conduct. Her sentence is a $1,000 fine and 200 hours of community service. Omar was never called to testify in the trial. That's the only justice we have in store in this country today. Just keep the substance of the crime, of the Hendrix crime, and we say that in quotes, as well as her sentence. Keep that in mind when we move forward. And rewind to April of 2020, when Omar, our favorite Somali, along with another Somali vermin, committed a violent assault on the street. Omar threw a rock at a car, then attacked and beat a 16-year-old driver. The bystander tried to intervene. Omar's accomplice threatened him with a blade. Omar was charged merely with disorderly conduct because he hurled a deadly weapon at a vehicle. Throwing a rock at a moving vehicle can kill multiple people. Car crash, you can kill everybody. He was charged with disorderly conduct for beating a teenager while his criminal vermin friend held off onlookers at knife point. Omar faced the same exact charges as Hendrix faced for saying a word that Omar asked her to say as she held her child in her arms at a playground. This is a guy who was on trial for a sexual assault of an underage girl. Why is he even allowed anywhere near a playground? What is he doing in the playground anyway by himself during the day? Why isn't he at work? Why is he allowed near a playground? He shouldn't be allowed anywhere near where children are. She held her child in her arms and fled because she was afraid, as she said in court, that Omar was going to assault her. Now, if you remember, Hendrix is facing a $1,000 fine with 200 hours of community service. Omar, convicted of disorderly conduct, his sentence is a $200. His sentence was a $200 fine. That's it. Alleged rape of an underage foster child for 2 days, allegedly, like I said, no bother. And he's not even put on a statewide assault list. Hurling a deadly weapon at a car, beating up the driver, holding people at knife point, $200. Say a word that may offend somebody, especially a convicted assaulter, kidnapper, violent criminal, who demands that you say this over and over and over again because he said it on video, you get a $1,000 fine and 200 hours of community service, not to mention the infamy of this that will follow her forever. She'll never be able to get a regular job. I mean, where's the white privilege for Shiloh? Where's the standard here? This is an unspeakable injustice. And this is not what this woman's facing. It's what all white people are facing. And if you think I'm wrong, beware, because it could happen to you or somebody you know. Because when people look at this vermin here, they see, at least the law, they see power. He can do whatever he wants in this country. He can do whatever he wants in Minnesota. He already has. And I guarantee, dollar to donuts, that his representative, the lawyer who represented him, was paid by the state. And I guarantee the $200 that he had fined that he had to pay for, he didn't pay for. He probably borrowed that too, or stole it, or sold drugs for it. When are we going to wake up? You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene came out with an outrageous statement saying that Americans should have a political revolution in this country. We should no longer pay taxes, which I don't know how that happens because they take taxes right out of your check. As I said before, this can't happen. Nothing will change in the voting booth. Nothing. As easy as Obama brought this vermin into our country, it's just as easy as to get it out. It really is. I mean, it's going to take some cojones to be the guy, and it has to be a man, of course, to implement this transfer. I don't know if we have a guy like that in America. I don't know if we have a guy like that in the Western world. But if you want this to continue, if you want this to get worse, just let this precedent, just allow these things to continue to happen. Because these people will not stop until it's all theirs. Until people who look like Shiloh Hendrix and people who look like you and people who look like, Sydney Sweeney don't exist anymore. They want us eradicated. They want us out. And they will stop at nothing because they believe that God's on their side. The government won't stop them because the government is cowardly. The government and the people that are in the government are mentally ill. And it's only going to take a reaction, a severe reaction, to reverse what's happening to the Western world, not just America, not just Canada, but to England, to Germany, to France, to Spain. It's going to take a massive reaction. And I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. But who am I to say? It's sick out there and getting sicker, as I always open up the show with. And you can't make this stuff up. I wish I was, but I'm not that great of a writer. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, remember, Satan is always busy. He's laughing his ass off right now. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And just remember, as this broadcast proved, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later. Have a good weekend.